They laughed together every day. They talked for hours. Then one day, everything changed. No long explanations. No desperate messages. No chasing. Just silence, calm, controlled silence. At first, nobody noticed it. But slowly, something strange started happening. The people who once ignored him began thinking about him constantly. They wondered why he changed. Why he no longer reacted. Why his energy suddenly felt rare, powerful, and impossible to control. That is the power of Stoicism. Most people believe attraction comes from attention, pleasing others, or constantly proving your worth. But the truth is different. The moment you stop seeking validation, your presence becomes magnetic. People begin to notice your absence more than your effort. They remember your calmness more than your words. And they start thinking about you long after you are gone. In this video, you will discover the Stoic principles that quietly make people respect you, admire you, and think about you nonstop. These are not manipulation tricks. They are timeless principles that transform your energy, your confidence, and the way people respond to you. Watch this video carefully until the end because one principle may completely change the way people see you forever. And if you enjoy content like this, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more powerful Stoic wisdom that helps you master your emotions, relationships, and life. The first principle is emotional control. Nothing makes a person more unforgettable than calmness under pressure. Most people react instantly when they feel ignored, rejected, or disrespected. They panic. They chase. They overexplain themselves. But a Stoic understands that emotional reactions often destroy attraction and respect. When you remain calm, people cannot easily predict you. And what they cannot predict, they cannot stop thinking about. Imagine two people facing rejection. One becomes desperate, angry, and emotional. The other simply smiles, accepts reality, and keeps moving forward peacefully. Which one leaves the stronger impression? The calm person. Because emotional control signals power. It tells the world that your happiness does not depend on external validation. And people naturally become curious about those who are emotionally independent. When someone expects you to react emotionally, and you stay composed instead, your silence becomes louder than words. They replay your behavior in their mind. They wonder how you stayed so calm. They begin comparing your maturity to the chaos of others. That is why Stoics never allow temporary emotions to control permanent decisions. The less reactive you become, the more unforgettable your presence becomes. Another powerful Stoic principle is mystery. People value what they cannot completely figure out. In today's world, many people reveal everything too quickly. Every emotion is posted online. Every thought is shared immediately. Every detail becomes public. But Stoicism teaches restraint. Not everyone deserves access to your mind, your plans, or your emotions. When you speak less, people listen more carefully. When you disappear occasionally, people notice your absence. When you stop explaining yourself constantly, people begin creating their own thoughts about you. Mystery creates emotional tension. And emotional tension keeps people thinking. This does not mean playing games. It means protecting your energy and maintaining depth. A Stoic does not seek attention through noise. They attract attention through presence. Think about the people you remember most deeply. Often, they were not the loudest people in the room. They carried themselves with quiet confidence. They revealed themselves slowly. They made you curious. Curiosity is powerful. The more people wonder about you, the more space you occupy in their minds. Stoicism teaches that silence is not weakness. Silence is discipline. Silence is observation. Silence is power. And in a world full of endless talking, a calm and mysterious person becomes impossible to ignore. Another principle is self-respect. People constantly think about those who respect themselves deeply. Many lose themselves trying to gain approval. They tolerate disrespect just to keep someone around. They abandon their values to avoid being disliked. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Never trade your dignity for attention. The moment you begin respecting yourself, others feel the difference immediately. Your standards become clearer. Your energy becomes stronger. Your presence becomes valuable because it is no longer available to everyone. Self-respect changes the way you speak, the way you walk, and the way you respond to disrespect. A Stoic understands that chasing people often pushes them away. But standing firmly in your worth creates admiration naturally. When someone realizes you can walk away peacefully instead of begging to stay, they begin thinking about you differently. They see strength instead of neediness, confidence instead of insecurity. And confidence is unforgettable. People may forget words. They may forget conversations. But they never forget how someone made them feel. A person with self-respect creates a feeling of stability, calmness, and strength that stays in the mind for a long time. Never lower your standards just to keep temporary attention. The right people respect boundaries. The wrong people fear them. Another Stoic principle that makes people think about you nonstop is purpose. People become obsessed with those who are focused on something greater than attention. When your life revolves around chasing approval, people lose respect quickly. But when you are deeply committed to your goals, your growth, and your mission, your energy changes completely. Purpose creates attraction naturally. A Stoic wakes up with direction. They are building themselves mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. They do not spend all day worrying about who texted them or who ignored them. Their focus is bigger than temporary validation. And strangely, this independence makes people more attracted to them. Why? Because people admire those who are not controlled by attention. They become curious about people who have discipline and direction. When someone sees that your happiness does not depend on their presence, they begin valuing your presence more. Scarcity creates value. The busier you become improving yourself, the more your absence begins affecting others emotionally. Instead of chasing people, chase growth. Go to the gym. Build your mind. Learn new skills. Improve your finances. Strengthen your discipline. Create a life so meaningful that people feel your energy even when you are silent. A Stoic understands that becoming valuable is more powerful than seeking validation. And once people see your growth, they begin thinking about you constantly because your energy reminds them of what they lack within themselves. Another timeless Stoic principle is detachment. This is one of the most powerful forms of inner strength. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop depending emotionally on outcomes you cannot control. Most suffering comes from attachment. Attachment to people. Attachment to validation. Attachment to expectations. Stoics understand that peace begins when you release the need to control everything. Ironically, when you stop clinging too tightly to people, they often think about you more. Why? Because emotional independence is rare. Most people expect desperation. They expect emotional dependence. But when you remain centered whether someone stays or leaves, your calmness becomes unforgettable. A Stoic can love deeply without losing themselves. They understand that true confidence comes from within, not from another person's attention. When someone notices that you are happy, peaceful, and emotionally grounded without needing constant reassurance, they naturally begin respecting you more. And respect creates lasting attraction. Desperation pushes people away. Peace pulls people closer. Never lose yourself trying to hold on to someone who is not choosing you fully. Choose yourself first. Another Stoic principle is mastering your words. Stoics understand that careless words create unnecessary problems. That is why they speak with intention. People remember those who speak calmly, wisely, and confidently. In emotional moments, most people say things they regret later. They insult others. They beg. They overreact. But Stoics pause before speaking. That pause creates power. When your words are controlled, your presence feels mature and trustworthy. People begin respecting your mind because they see discipline behind your speech. And disciplined people stand out in a chaotic world. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Not every insult deserves your energy. Not every argument deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves your reaction. Silence can communicate strength more effectively than endless explanations. When you stop trying to prove yourself constantly, people begin paying closer attention to your actions instead of your words. And actions always speak louder. The next Stoic principle is confidence without arrogance. There is a difference between confidence and pride. Arrogance seeks superiority. Confidence seeks self-mastery. A Stoic does not need to announce their value constantly. They do not compete for attention. They do not force others to admire them. True confidence is quiet. It comes from discipline, self-awareness, and emotional control. People are naturally drawn toward those who are comfortable with themselves. When you stop trying to impress everyone, your energy becomes authentic. And authenticity is magnetic. Many people pretend to be confident, while secretly seeking approval from everyone around them. But Stoics build confidence internally. They know who they are even when nobody applauds them. That inner certainty changes everything. When you walk into a room without needing validation, people notice. When you speak calmly without trying too hard, people listen. When you remain grounded under pressure, people remember you. Confidence without arrogance creates lasting respect. And respect keeps people thinking about you long after conversations end. Another powerful Stoic lesson is learning to walk away. This is difficult for many people because they fear loss. They fear loneliness. They fear starting over. So they tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, and emotional games. But Stoicism teaches that peace is more valuable than attachment. Sometimes walking away is the greatest act of self-respect. When you leave situations that drain your energy instead of begging to be valued, people see your strength differently. You communicate one powerful message. I know my worth. That message stays in people's minds for a very long time. A Stoic never forces connections. They understand that genuine relationships require mutual respect and effort. The moment someone realizes you are capable of leaving peacefully instead of chasing desperately, your value rises in their eyes. Strength is attractive. Discipline is attractive. Self-respect is attractive. And people never forget someone who chose peace over emotional chaos. Another Stoic principle that makes people think about you nonstop is inner peace. In a noisy world filled with stress, drama, and emotional confusion, peaceful people stand out immediately. Stoics protect their inner peace carefully. They do not argue unnecessarily. They do not seek revenge constantly. They do not waste energy trying to control everyone around them. Instead, they focus on mastering themselves. This creates a calming presence that people remember deeply. Have you ever met someone whose energy made you feel calm instantly? That is rare. Most people spread anxiety and emotional instability. But a Stoic spreads calmness, clarity, and emotional balance. And people crave that energy more than they admit. The calmer you become, the more attractive your presence becomes. People start associating you with peace instead of pressure. They feel safe around your energy because you are emotionally stable. Emotional stability is powerful. Never underestimate the impact of inner peace in a chaotic world. Finally, the greatest Stoic principle is becoming complete within yourself. The moment you stop needing people to complete you, your entire energy changes. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop fearing rejection so deeply. Instead, you begin living from a place of abundance. A Stoic understands that happiness cannot depend entirely on external things. Real strength comes from mastering your own mind. When you are complete within yourself, relationships become healthier because they are no longer based on fear and dependency. And ironically, people become more drawn to you. Why? Because emotionally complete people feel rare and valuable. They bring peace instead of pressure. Confidence instead of insecurity. Stability instead of chaos. People think about those who make them feel emotionally safe, inspired, and respected. That is the true power of Stoicism. Not manipulation. Not mind games. But deep inner mastery that naturally transforms the way others see you. If you made it this far, it means you are ready to become mentally stronger, emotionally calmer, and more respected in every area of your life. Subscribe to the channel now for more powerful Stoic lessons that will help you master your emotions, strengthen your mindset, and become the best version of yourself. Your journey toward true inner power starts today. Most people spend their lives trying to be noticed. They change their personality to fit in. They say yes when they want to say no. They tolerate disrespect because they are afraid of losing people. And slowly, without realizing it, they lose themselves. But Stoicism teaches a completely different path. The more connected you become to your true self, the less desperate you become for external approval. And the less desperate you become, the more powerful your presence feels. People can sense authenticity. They can feel when someone is trying too hard. And they can also feel when someone is genuinely comfortable in their own skin. A Stoic does not chase admiration. They focus on becoming admirable. That difference changes everything. When you stop forcing attention and start building character, your energy becomes unforgettable. People begin thinking about you because your calm confidence reminds them of a level of inner peace they have not yet reached. That is why self-mastery is more attractive than performance. The next Stoic principle is patience. In today's world, everyone wants immediate results. Immediate replies. Immediate validation. Immediate attention. But Stoics understand that real power grows slowly. Patience creates emotional strength because it teaches you how to remain calm while life unfolds naturally. Impatient people often ruin opportunities by forcing outcomes. They become anxious when things do not happen quickly enough. They overreact. They overthink. They push too hard. But a Stoic waits with confidence. They trust timing. They trust themselves. They understand that what truly belongs to them will not require desperation. And this calm patience creates mystery and attraction. When someone notices that you are not emotionally panicking for their attention, they begin questioning your mindset. They wonder why you are so composed. Why you seem emotionally grounded while others become desperate. Patience separates emotionally strong people from emotionally dependent people. A Stoic knows that rushing often destroys what peace could have built naturally. Another principle is discipline. Discipline is one of the rarest qualities in the modern world. Many people only act based on feelings. If they feel motivated, they work. If they feel emotional, they react. If they feel rejected, they quit. But Stoics understand that feelings change constantly. Discipline means doing what is necessary even when emotions try to distract you. When people see discipline in your life, they automatically respect you more. Discipline in your habits. Discipline in your emotions. Discipline in your speech. Discipline in your decisions. This kind of self-control creates a powerful presence because it shows that you are guided by principles instead of temporary emotions. And people admire those who can control themselves. A disciplined person becomes difficult to manipulate because they are not controlled by impulse. They think before acting. They remain calm under pressure. They move with purpose. That kind of energy stays in people's minds long after you leave the room. Another Stoic lesson is learning not to take everything personally. This principle alone can completely transform your emotional life. Many people suffer because they attach their self-worth to the opinions and actions of others. If someone ignores them, they feel worthless. If someone criticizes them, they feel destroyed. But Stoicism teaches that other people's behavior often reflects their own inner struggles more than your value. Not every rejection is about you. Not every silence is personal. Not every opinion deserves emotional access to your peace. The moment you stop taking everything personally, your mind becomes calmer and stronger. And strangely, people become more drawn to emotionally secure individuals because emotional security feels rare. A Stoic does not waste energy trying to control how everyone sees them. They focus on controlling their own character. That mindset creates freedom. When you are no longer emotionally shaken by every small thing, your confidence becomes steady instead of fragile. And steady confidence is unforgettable. Another Stoic principle that quietly attracts people is independence. Independent people have a different energy. They enjoy companionship, but they are not emotionally dependent on it. They appreciate people without losing themselves inside relationships. This creates emotional balance. A Stoic understands that loneliness is better than sacrificing peace for unhealthy connections. They are comfortable spending time alone. Comfortable growing alone. Comfortable building themselves quietly without needing constant attention. And because of this, their presence becomes more valuable. People often take available things for granted, but they respect what feels rare. An independent person communicates value without speaking. They show that their happiness comes from within, not from external approval. This naturally creates curiosity. People begin wondering what gives you such peace, such calmness, such confidence. And the answer is simple. You stopped abandoning yourself to please everyone else. That is true strength. Another powerful Stoic lesson is restraint. Not every feeling must be expressed immediately. Not every thought deserves action. Not every emotion deserves a reaction. Modern culture often encourages emotional impulsiveness. People are told to react instantly to everything they feel. But Stoicism teaches wisdom through restraint. Restraint protects your peace. When you learn to pause before reacting emotionally, you prevent unnecessary problems. You stop making decisions from anger, fear, jealousy, or insecurity. And people notice this emotional maturity immediately. A person who can control themselves during emotional moments appears powerful because self-control is rare. Most people are controlled by emotions. A Stoic controls emotions without suppressing humanity. They feel deeply, but they do not allow emotions to dominate their actions. That balance creates respect. And respect creates lasting impact. Another Stoic principle is valuing actions over words. Anyone can make promises. Anyone can say beautiful things. But actions reveal truth. Stoics pay close attention to behavior instead of empty words. They understand that consistency matters more than temporary emotion. This principle also changes the way people see you. When your actions consistently reflect discipline, honesty, and emotional stability, people begin trusting you deeply. Trust creates emotional connection. An emotional connection keeps people thinking about you long after conversations end. Many people speak about greatness. Few live it consistently. Becoming reliable in your actions creates silent influence. People remember consistency because it feels safe in a world filled with uncertainty. Another Stoic lesson is learning to enjoy silence. Silence makes many people uncomfortable because silence forces them to face themselves. That is why so many constantly seek distraction. But Stoics become comfortable in silence. Silence sharpens observation. Silence strengthens self-awareness. Silence protects peace. When you stop feeling the need to fill every moment with noise, your presence becomes calmer and more grounded. And grounded people naturally stand out. A Stoic understands that silence often reveals more than words ever could. People reveal themselves through impatience, emotional reactions, insecurity, and unnecessary talking. But the calm observer sees clearly. The more comfortable you become with silence, the more emotionally powerful you become. And emotional power leaves lasting impressions. Another important Stoic principle is accepting reality. Many people suffer because they fight reality instead of accepting it. They cannot accept rejection. They cannot accept endings. They cannot accept change. So they cling desperately to situations that are already gone. But Stoicism teaches acceptance. Not weakness. Not surrender. Acceptance. Acceptance means understanding that life changes constantly and peace comes from adapting wisely instead of resisting emotionally. When you accept reality calmly, you stop wasting energy fighting things outside your control. This creates emotional maturity. And emotionally mature people become unforgettable because they respond to life with wisdom instead of chaos. People are deeply affected by those who remain calm during difficult moments. A Stoic understands that pain is temporary, but self-respect must remain permanent. That mindset creates inner strength. Another Stoic principle is becoming harder to emotionally manipulate. Emotionally reactive people are easy to control. Compliments control them. Criticism controls them. Attention controls them. Rejection controls them. But Stoics train themselves to remain centered regardless of external circumstances. This does not mean becoming cold or emotionless. It means becoming emotionally stable. When your emotions are no longer controlled by other people's behavior, you become powerful. And powerful people naturally attract attention without trying. Most people are used to emotional reactions. They expect anger, jealousy, desperation, or insecurity. But when you respond calmly instead, you become different. And different people stay in the mind longer. The next Stoic lesson is protecting your energy. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your time, emotions, and attention. Stoics understand the importance of boundaries. They do not entertain unnecessary drama. They do not constantly explain themselves to people committed to misunderstanding them. They protect their peace carefully. This protection creates value because it shows self-respect. People often realize your value more when they no longer have unlimited access to your energy. Scarcity creates appreciation. A Stoic knows when to engage and when to walk away quietly. That emotional discipline prevents unnecessary suffering and strengthens inner peace. And inner peace changes the way people experience your presence. Another Stoic principle is resilience. Life will test everyone. There will be rejection, disappointment, betrayal, failure, and loneliness. But Stoics refuse to allow pain to destroy their character. Instead of becoming bitter, they become wiser. Instead of collapsing emotionally, they grow stronger internally. Resilient people leave powerful impressions because they carry strength born from experience. When someone sees that you survive difficult moments without losing your dignity, they respect you differently. Strength developed through struggle creates depth. And depth is unforgettable. A Stoic does not seek an easy life. They seek the strength to handle life wisely. That mindset creates calm confidence that people deeply admire. If you are still watching, understand this clearly. The real goal is not making people obsessed with you. The real goal is becoming so emotionally strong, peaceful, disciplined, and self-respecting that your presence naturally leaves lasting impact. That is the Stoic way. And if you want more powerful videos that help you build confidence, emotional mastery, and true inner strength, subscribe to the channel right now and join this growing community of people becoming mentally unstoppable every single day. One of the deepest Stoic truths is this. People often remember how you left more than how you arrived. Anyone can make a strong first impression. Many people can appear charming for a short time. But very few know how to leave with dignity, calmness, and self-respect. Stoics understand the importance of endings. When a connection becomes unhealthy, they do not beg endlessly to be chosen. When respect disappears, they do not destroy themselves trying to force love or attention. They walk away with peace. And that peaceful departure creates a powerful emotional impact. Why? Because most people expect emotional chaos. They expect shouting, desperation, anger, or revenge. But calm detachment confuses people. It stays in their minds because it feels rare. A Stoic understands that leaving quietly is sometimes stronger than fighting loudly. And often, the people who underestimated your value begin thinking about you the moment your energy is no longer available to them. Another Stoic principle is becoming mentally untouchable. This does not mean ignoring emotions or pretending nothing affects you. It means developing such strong inner control that external situations no longer dominate your peace completely. Most people lose themselves emotionally too quickly. A single message changes their mood. A small rejection destroys their confidence. One negative opinion ruins their entire day. But Stoics train themselves differently. They build emotional stability from within. This inner strength creates a calm energy that naturally commands respect because emotionally stable people are rare. When others realize they cannot easily disturb your peace, they begin viewing you differently. Your calmness becomes memorable. Your emotional discipline becomes attractive. Your stability becomes powerful. And people begin thinking about you because your mindset feels different from the emotional chaos they see everywhere else. Another important Stoic lesson is learning the power of absence. Constant availability often reduces value. When people know they can access your attention anytime without effort, they begin taking your presence for granted. But Stoics understand balance. They value their own time. They invest energy carefully. They disappear to focus on growth, peace, and purpose. And absence creates reflection. Sometimes people only realize your value when your energy is no longer constantly surrounding them. Silence creates space for memory. Distance creates space for appreciation. This is not about manipulation. It is about understanding human nature. People naturally value what feels meaningful and rare. A Stoic never abandons their purpose just to remain constantly available for others. They maintain their individuality. And individuality creates attraction. Another Stoic principle is refusing to compete for attention. Many people exhaust themselves trying to outperform everyone around them. They constantly seek validation, approval, and recognition. But Stoics focus on self-improvement instead of comparison. Comparison destroys peace. The moment you stop competing for attention, your energy changes completely. You become calmer, more authentic, more confident. And authenticity attracts people naturally because it feels genuine. A Stoic does not need to prove superiority constantly. They simply focus on becoming better than they were yesterday. That quiet self-improvement creates respect because disciplined growth always speaks louder than performance. People eventually notice those who move with purpose instead of desperation. And purposeful people remain unforgettable. Another Stoic lesson is understanding that not everyone deserves your explanation. This principle saves enormous emotional energy. Many people waste hours trying to explain themselves to those who have already decided to misunderstand them. But Stoics understand something important. You do not need universal approval to live peacefully. Some people will misunderstand you no matter how clearly you speak. Some people will judge you unfairly regardless of your intentions. And chasing understanding from everyone leads to emotional exhaustion. A Stoic chooses peace over endless explanation. They know their character matters more than public opinion. When you stop over-explaining yourself constantly, people begin respecting your boundaries more. And your silence gains strength. The less you seek validation, the more powerful your presence becomes. Another timeless Stoic principle is humility. True strength does not need arrogance. Some people become prideful the moment they gain confidence. They look down on others. They become obsessed with superiority. But Stoicism teaches balance. A Stoic can be confident without becoming arrogant. They understand that everyone faces struggles. Everyone carries pain. Everyone is learning. Humility creates emotional maturity. And emotionally mature people leave lasting impressions because they make others feel respected instead of judged. A humble person with inner confidence becomes deeply attractive because their energy feels safe, calm, and genuine. People remember those who make them feel valued without needing to dominate every situation. That quiet confidence stays in the mind much longer than loud arrogance ever will. Another Stoic principle is controlling your attention. Where your attention goes, your emotional energy follows. Most people constantly focus on what hurts them, who ignored them, or what they cannot control. As a result, their minds become consumed by negativity. But Stoics guard their attention carefully. They focus on growth, purpose, wisdom, discipline, peace. They refuse to allow temporary distractions to steal permanent peace. This focus creates emotional clarity. And emotionally clear people naturally appear more attractive because they are not constantly consumed by chaos. People admire those who remain focused while others become distracted easily. A Stoic understands that attention is one of the most valuable forms of energy. Protect it carefully. Another powerful Stoic lesson is learning to become comfortable being misunderstood. This is difficult because humans naturally want acceptance. But Stoics know that trying to please everyone destroys authenticity. Not everyone will understand your silence. Not everyone will understand your boundaries. Not everyone will understand your growth. And that is perfectly fine. A Stoic remains true to their principles even when misunderstood. This creates quiet confidence because your identity no longer depends entirely on external approval. And people often become fascinated by those who remain authentic without constantly seeking validation. The more secure you become within yourself, the less pressure you place on others to approve of you. And that emotional independence becomes magnetic. Another Stoic principle that makes people think about you nonstop is consistency. Consistency builds trust. Anyone can behave well temporarily. Anyone can appear confident for a few days. But consistency reveals true character. Stoics value stable behavior, stable emotions, stable discipline, stable principles. People remember those who remain grounded regardless of circumstances. A person who stays calm during success and failure appears emotionally powerful because they are not controlled by temporary highs and lows. Consistency creates reliability. And reliable people become unforgettable in a world filled with unpredictability. Another Stoic lesson is accepting solitude without fear. Many people stay in unhealthy situations because they fear being alone. But Stoics understand that solitude can become a source of strength. Solitude allows reflection, growth, healing, self-discovery. A Stoic becomes comfortable with their own company. And this comfort creates emotional independence. When you no longer fear loneliness, you stop tolerating disrespect simply to avoid being alone. That changes your standards completely. People begin sensing that your presence is valuable because you are not emotionally dependent on anyone to feel complete. And emotionally complete people naturally attract respect. Another Stoic principle is refusing to chase closure endlessly. Not every situation will end with perfect explanations. Not every person will apologize. Not every betrayal will make sense immediately. Stoics understand that peace sometimes comes from acceptance instead of answers. The need for constant closure often keeps people emotionally trapped in the past. But a Stoic learns to move forward gracefully even without complete understanding. That emotional maturity creates freedom. And free people carry a peaceful energy that deeply affects others. Another Stoic lesson is becoming difficult to provoke. Provocation is everywhere. People test your patience, challenge your emotions, push your boundaries. But Stoics understand that reacting emotionally gives others control over your state of mind. That is why emotional discipline matters so much. The calmer you remain during difficult situations, the stronger you appear. Anyone can remain peaceful when life is easy. But maintaining calmness during pressure reveals true inner strength. People never forget someone who remained composed while others lost control emotionally. That level of self-mastery commands deep respect. Another powerful Stoic principle is gratitude. Grateful people radiate a different kind of energy. Instead of constantly complaining about what is missing, Stoics appreciate what already exists. Health, growth, wisdom, peace, opportunity. Gratitude creates emotional balance because it shifts focus from scarcity to abundance. And abundance creates confidence. People naturally enjoy being around those who carry peaceful appreciation instead of endless negativity. A grateful mind becomes calmer, wiser, and emotionally stronger. And emotional strength leaves lasting impressions. At the end of the day, Stoicism is not about making others obsessed with you. It is about becoming someone whose calmness, discipline, confidence, and inner peace naturally leave unforgettable impact. When you master yourself, people notice. When you protect your peace, people notice. When you stop chasing validation and start building character, people notice. And the more you grow internally, the more your presence begins affecting people without effort. That is true power. If this video helped you understand the deeper power of Stoicism, subscribe to the channel right now for more life-changing lessons on emotional mastery, self-discipline, confidence, and inner peace. Your strongest transformation begins the moment you stop trying to control others and start mastering yourself.